Hello, hello, hello. This is Attorney Mike Gravel coming to you from Chicago. As usual, I got clipped so hot, I had to do it again. Whoops, I did it again. Yes, another Britney reference from the last stream. Let's do this thing, shall we? Oh, wait, no, I have to give thank yous. Who do we have here? April hooked me up with the soft sit. Big shout out to April. Of course, part of this is Natalie D's fault. She sent me a Throuple. I haven't seen it yet. If it's good, that's to my credit. If it's bad, you blame Natalie. That's how this works around here. And the way you blame Natalie is you go over to her channel and subscribe. And then also, I poached one from People in Court. It's a good Karen. We've got a Karen. We've got a soft sit. We've got a Throuple. What's not to like? Let's do this thing, shall we? From the secret headquarters of the Sovereign Citizen Patrol, initiating video production sequence. We are no longer playing. So let's get revved up. It's time for Law Talk with Mike.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Eric Martin?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. The living man will make it clear. Living man, Eric Martin, a defendant, corporate entity.
Call case 23S00425. People State of Michigan is Eric Martin. Allegations are that on July 11, 2023, Ypsilanti Township, Washington County, State of Michigan, on I-94 at or near Michigan Avenue, you did operate a motor vehicle at the time your driver's license was suspended or revoked. A misdemeanor carrying a maximum penalty of convicted of up to 93 days in jail, a $500 fine, plus court costs, or both. Do you understand that?
I do not understand in the sense that I do not stand under the charges.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Count 2 alleges that on the same date, time, location, you did operate a motor vehicle at a time you did not have in full force in effect. Insurance is required by state law. Again, a misdemeanor carrying a maximum penalty of convicted of up to 1 year in jail, a $500 fine, plus court costs, or both. And the third count alleges that on the same date, time, location, did operate an unregistered motor vehicle. A misdemeanor carrying a maximum penalty of convicted of up to 90 days in jail, a $500 fine, plus court costs, or both. These are misdemeanor charges. You have certain basic rights. You have the right to remain silent. You say the record canon would be used against you at trial. You have the right to trial by jury, the right to the assistance of an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will represent you at public expense. Should there be a trial in this matter, you'd have the following trial rights. You may call witnesses.
What the hell's going on with the camera? It's like a family affair over there. We're cycling through people.
To speak on your behalf. You have the right to see, hear, and question any witness against you. You may act as a witness for yourself, or should you choose not to testify, the prosecutor may not comment on your refusal to testify. You are presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Court's entered not guilty pleas as all counts. The public defender will address bond in these matters.
Is that guy shirtless?
Assistant Public Defender Lemmy Saab appearing with and on behalf of Mr. Martin, requesting a PR bond this morning, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I object to any representation by any attorney, as I invoke my right to a Republican form of government and Republican laws under Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. Meaning
my phone just kicked on to where I can hear.
Hey, hang on, Mr. May, I'll be with you in a minute. Okay, court's noted the objection. Public defender is excused from proceeding further.
And that's just, not make it clear, not just as to them, nothing with them, just them specifically. I'm saying any and all attorneys, because I do not give up my right to be sovereign as one of the people, as the U.S. Supreme Court said I have as one of the people, the right to a Republican form of government and to be sovereign. So that's why I say that.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Martin, we will set a pretrial hearing September the 14th at 9 a.m. via Zoom.
This is so fast. Let me September 14th is, September 14th, what time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. And that's, what's the title of that proceeding?
That'll be a pre-trial hearing.
All right.
Prosecutor will be present for that hearing. We have any future filings you make with the court, make sure you copy the prosecutor on. We have forwarded these for you as a courtesy, but if you make any future filings with the court, including the ones you've already filed here, or in addition to the ones you've already filed, make sure you send a copy to the prosecuting attorney's office. Their address will be on the notice we'll send you, okay?
Okay, I have another objection here. I also object to a challenge of jurisdiction in this case against me as a living man.
You can make that motion in writing. Again, any motions made in writing be filed with the court and served on the prosecuting attorney's office.
There's your
Okay.
jurisdiction.
Okay.
All right. Did you receive a text message to remind you about today's court date?
Did I receive a text message for what?
To remind you of today's court date.
Of today's court date? Yes, I did.
Okay. Just want to make sure you're receiving those so you're getting that notice. We'll mail it to your address on record here too as well. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
That's
You're all set for today, Mr. Martin. Again, September 14th, 9 a.m. Failure to appear for a court date could result in a bench warrant for the individual's arrest. You understand that?
Well, I don't understand in the sense I do not stand under it, and I object to that because it violate my right against sovereignty and Article 4, Section 4, public form of government, and
All right. Your objection's noted.
And there's many other reasons too why I objected because, there's no jurisdiction here under many other reasons.
Well, as courts operate, you will need to file any objections in writing. I've instructed you on how to do that. So if you want to submit those objections, just write it up and make sure you send a copy to the court and to the prosecuting attorney's office so they're prepared to address that at the next court date. Okay.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, one objection I kind of have with the prosecutor in the sense of, I will if I must under threat and duress. Oh, that's another thing I was going to mention. Now, I'm appearing here by special appearance, not a general appearance, and this is through threat and duress of, the rest and all that, the normal. So I just wanted to make that clear. I'm not really consenting to, appearing here today. I'm not consenting, for future references to be held under the jurisdiction
Just want to make it clear that I do not consent. Thank you. Thank you.
of the court and all that. And it's one of the legal authorities I use for this is the Michigan Constitution and the U.S. Constitution under the 13th Amendment right against slavery and to not be subject to involuntary servitude. That's one of the legal authorities I rely on to be subject to any arrest for the bench warrant, like you mentioned, or anything else.
Thank you for this, April.
Against my will. And just want to mention that.
You've made your record on that point.
Okay. But now, what does it say about the copies of the prosecutor? Now, I will if I must under threat and duress, but see, that costs money. And I shouldn't have to spend no money for my access to the court, such as by making copies. That just costs more money for me to make the copies. So in that sense, I'm going to ask that that the court clerk make a copy and send it to them, so I don't have to spend money to make the copies, which I think violates my right of access to the courts. And as the U.S. Supreme Court said, the Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, I think that was one of the cases I cite dealing with my other arguments. We don't have
Magistrate Nelson is in another world. He has left the building.
to spend money for the exercise of a right.
But you do. You would have to. Can I address that for you, Ms. Martin? If I may, I'll address that for you. Okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, if there's a finding of indigency and you need to fill out a form indicating that you're indigent, so you can find that form on our website. If you file that form and there's a finding of indigency, that's easy enough for me to say, then we consider that at that point in time. Okay.
Well, I'm saying in addition, not just, I know the normal indigency is normally a thing, but I'm saying regardless aspect, just simply because it's a right of access to the courts. It's not just limited to indigency. It's just period. I shouldn't, don't have to pay money for the exercise of right, period, regardless whether I'm indigent or not,
I hear you, but that's a process that we have under the court rules.
Right.
Apparently, if you want to challenge the court
He's
rules
just
as
got
they
his
are, there's a
camera off.
process for that. But we have to operate with what we have to operate with right now. Okay.
Well, the court rules was, like I said, just once again, and that's the final thing to say about it is under Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, U.S. Supreme Court, and I got the volume and page and recited to you already in one of the papers,
Thank you, Michelle.
in general, just the right of access to, to pay money for the right, to exercise our constitutional right, no matter what constitutional right it is, you can't be charged a fee, period. So,
You made a record on that point. Like I said, there's a process for it right now that exists. If you want to challenge the processes, you'd have to, to do that otherwise. But so again, your next court date will be September the 14th, and we're all set for today, Mr. Martin. You have a good day. Thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, you too. Yep, bye.
Lola is asking you to hit like and subscribe, and she's driving me crazy. Buckle up, people.
Hello, Ms. Schultz.
A lot of you have probably seen this on People in Court. It's a good channel. Go check it out. She gets fines like this all the time, but it's just a Karen I couldn't pass up.
We are here on 3 different cases. Case 3A05-21741 and case 3A01-73909. Both of those are conditions of releases, so arraignments have already happened in those cases. We're also here on a new case, and that's case 3A02-91699. And Ms. Schultz, you should have received a document from jail staff, and at the top it says acknowledgement of defendant's rights, and it lists all the rights that you have as a defendant. Do you see that form?
I already have that form with me. I would say that I did not have my lawyer present during questioning, and I have not ever, when I have been in custody of Jefferson County law enforcement.
Okay, thank you. Did you sign that form?
I wrote that I did not have that particular right, and that I signed it.
I understand, Ms. Schultz. What I'm asking you is if you signed to that form.
And then I'm answering you. I said I did not have that particular right, and then I signed it.
Thank you. I'm noting that I hear what you have said, so thank you.
Yep.
All right. You are charged with 2 counts of assault in the 4th degree, and then you are also charged with disorderly conduct. Assault in the 4th degree are gross misdemeanors. Each of those counts are punishable by up to 364 days in jail and or a $5,000 fine. The disorderly conduct is a misdemeanor. That's punishable by up to 90 days in jail or a $1,000 fine. The alleged violation date is August 13th, 2023. I've looked at the police report and read through the police report or the probable cause statement that's associated with those particular allegations.
Those will be questions to my lawyer. He's out of town. He's not here right now.
So Mr. Range is in the courtroom today to represent
He's not my
you.
lawyer, actually.
But he's here to represent you today.
No.
Ms. Schultz.
My name is Schultz Armijo. He is not my lawyer.
Well, he's here to represent you today. Mr. Range?
Thank you, Judge. I'll reserve if Ms. Schultz.
Armijo. Schultz Armijo is my name.
So I'll be reserved.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay. You don't know me because we've never met.
I am finding probable cause for all 3 of these allegations, and I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty on your behalf. I'm going to appoint Jefferson Associated Counsel to represent you because Jefferson Associated Counsel represents you on the other cases, and Mr. Range works for that law office.
Mr. Davis represents me on the other cases. Thanks. Also, the last time I was in jail, you handled, not you particularly, but the court handled a protection order for me. They did not pick up the weapon. They did not pick up the intimate photos that my husband has. And it was actually
Yeah, it's a good time to start airing grievances from your last jail appearance.
not handled at all. And that was what I was supposed to handle before. And I would actually like to bring that to your attention. There is my husband out there who's former special forces who sent me threatening text messages of things you stole from my home.
So that's something that you'll want to talk with.
Beforehand.
All right, so listen, right now it's Mr. Ashcraft's turn to talk, and so I'm going to ask for conditions of release from Mr. Ashcraft.
Your Honor, at this point, the state's not asking you for any bail. We just ask that she give the court an address and let the court know
It's
if
actually
changes
my
that.
pronouns are the correct way to
Okay, Miss,
refer.
I need you to not say anything because we can only have one person talking at a time.
Okay,
It's Mr.
well,
Ashcraft's
he,
turn.
as he's saying,
I'm gonna have the jail mute you if you cannot sit there quietly.
You're,
Go ahead, Mr.
you're
Ashcraft.
being rude and actually hateful.
Okay, jail, if the jail would please put the device on mute, I will ask for that to be unmuted in a moment.
She has the temerity to say, you are being rude to the judge. I love it.
Mr. Ashcraft,
Um,
conditions of release, please.
I've lost track of
I'll
where it
ask
was.
you
Okay,
to
so
turn over.
I'll have her remain at address note of the court, notify the court if there's a change in the address. The next court date is October 4th with a jury trial of October 19th.
She needs to get with Mr. Bloom on her court charades though, because they're not base enough.
Have no further violations of the law, have no contact with Daniel Clemens or Misty Dawn O'Hara, and we're asking for anti-harassment orders. Also not go back to the mobile station on Sims Way, which is where all this appears to happen. That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So there is currently a few hearings that are already set in this court, and the next one is August 23rd at 8:45. I think all of these cases should be set on the same date, Mr. Ashcraft.
I agree, Your Honor.
Mr. Range, any objection to that? Okay. I am going to go along with those conditions. Thank you. And are you asking for I think I missed not.
I have the orders right here.
Okay.
She's still talking away too. Yeah, she is.
Thank you.
What time? I'm sure he'll behave himself.
Okay. All right, if the jail could please unmute. I appreciate your help with that. Okay, so your next court date in district court is August 23rd at 8:45. You do have a court date in Superior Court where you're the petitioner of a protection order, and that's happening on August 16th. So that's on Thursday or on Wednesday.
That is the divorce
10
trial
o'clock.
date.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's the date of the divorce trial, and I don't know that I will be able to make that date with the protection order.
I'm just letting you know. I just wanted you to know when it was, so that way you would have that date since you were mentioning it.
The 6th, I'm letting you know the 16th, I will not be, I will already be in Superior Court.
So that concludes your hearing today. You will want to contact Jefferson Associated Counsel. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to use Ms. Fowler's word. She now is in a throuple. And not only does she choose to be in a throuple and she's shacked up in the bed with the throuple. Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong world.
When the petitioner rests their case, I will turn to Ms. Jackson first, just because she's first on my calendar. She will have a choice to testify or not, to call witnesses or not. Any witnesses that testify, including the respondents, are subject to questioning when they finish. And then I will turn to Ms. Merez on position 22.
I have not seen
for the same. So,
we're into the Natalie portion of this debacle.
see if we can cut down the background noise as we go. Understand that this is a court hearing. The whole reason that we're here is because the parties don't agree as to the facts of the situation.
Thank you.
Under those circumstances, you're going to hear things that you disagree with, and I don't need that pointed out every time. But one party will give their side of their experience, the other party will give theirs. It's up to the court to determine who they believe and why, and what testimony is assigned what weight. Understand that when it's time for asking questions, take a moment as you're thinking about your questions and decide, is this question worth asking to this person? You know these facts better than me because you're the ones that are living it. If you ask this person a question and you know that their answer is just going to be, no, that's not what happened, that's not helpful to your case, right? The best way to handle that dispute, discrepancy, disagreement is through your own testimony. Now, if there's certain other things that need to be clarified, you might be able to ask other kinds of questions and get the answer that you're looking for. So choose what you ask and how you ask it based on that, because every little thing that you disagree about does not need to be the subject for a cross-examination question and then also turn into testimony as well. So with all of that said, I'll take notes as we go. We'll figure those things out. So Ms. Cooper, I'm going to ask you to unmute and raise your right hand for me. Do you swear the statements you make will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yeah.
All right. Ms. Cooper, do you have any other witnesses that you intend to call besides yourself?
No.
All right. Now, Ms. Cooper, you filed against two people. Ms. Jackson, she is your sister and someone that you were living with at the time you filed. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And then you filed against Ms. Merez, who was helping out in the home on a professional basis and is also connected to your sister on a personal level, to the best of your knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, are both of those parties DeKalb County residents?
Yeah.
All right. And how long have you been living in the home?
Since December of last year.
All right. So you came in December, and was Miss Jackson already living there at that time?
Yeah.
And was Miss Merez helping out in the home at that time?
No.
Okay. When did you first encounter her?
Is Miss Jackson nasty?
Do you mean like knowing that she was still working there? Probably like a year ago. She was in the home in 2022, 2021. She stopped.
So there was a gap and she came back?
Yeah.
Okay. So she was not a stranger to you at the time she moved in, but she wasn't actively helping out there.
Yeah.
And that's due to the physical condition of one of your parents, essentially. He requires in-home care.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us what led to you filing your petition.
My daughter received a call from In Touch, the scheduler. Her name is Esther, and she was asking questions about, I guess around the surroundings around work, like who was taking care of my dad. Was it India or was it DeAndrea? Because they saw that both of them were clocked in. So they were asking my daughter questions, and my daughter called me. I then called India and let India know what was going on, what was being said. When I first told her, she didn't express like any anger or anything, but leading up to that, because she would still come over even though she wasn't providing care for my dad. So after I told her, that was Friday, Saturday, she did have an attitude with me and my daughter. And Sunday is when the incident happened, and it escalated. I don't think India wasn't in it at first. It was really against me and my mom. And then my sister, then Miss Jackson jumped in, and that's when she started hollering. At the same time that all of this was going on, both Miss Jackson and Miss Merez, they were angry. I could tell that they were angry. And so the comment I made was, y'all just mad because y'all gonna go to jail. And why did I say that? But when I said that, both Miss Jackson and Miss India got in my face. Now, I started recording when she asked me to come pick the diaper up off the floor because it had already got escalated. And when I was walking into the kitchen, my mom, Miss Jackson, and Miss Merez was all in the kitchen. So that's why I started recording. Now, also I was recording because I was holding my 4-month-old grandson. So when I went to go pick up the diaper, we had like a little exchange, and I guess she got upset. I think she said she was upset because I told her to shut up. I just told her to shut up because she kept telling me to stop calling the police over here. But I wasn't calling the police on her at that moment. I was calling the police on my mom for her behavior. And so I guess she got upset. Now with Miss Merez, after I didn't see what happened at first outside. The only thing I know is when my daughter called me and said she was outside, I walked outside and I hear yelling. And I see Miss Merez and Miss Jackson at Miss Merez's car. And Miss Jackson is holding her back, trying to attack my daughter. And so my daughter was throwing rocks at them. And I guess because of that, that's why they got in the car and they left. By that time, I had already called the police. I had already called 911.
How old is your daughter?
She's 20.
Okay.
So at that time, I had already called the police, so we was waiting on them to come back. When they got here, Miss Merez and Miss Jackson, they had left the house. They had left the residence. They didn't come back till after. Also, I let the officer know because I was recording and it was another gentleman that was here. And the officer came up to me and said that the gentleman didn't want me recording him. And I said, sir, that gentleman that you're referring to, that's Miss Merez's brother. He's in there changing locks in a room that I used to go in because my mom is mad. She in there now. She making him or asking him to change the lock. So I said that's why I have him on camera because he's included in all of this. So after that, the officer said, if I were you, I would do whatever I can to get my father or get your father another nurse. And so that's why I would like the restraining order to be kept on Miss India and Miss Jackson.
Okay. So let's start with Miss Jackson. What violence has there been between you and Miss Jackson?
What violence
Miss Cooper, yeah. So Miss Cooper, these questions will be for you. Miss Jackson, okay. I'll ask you questions later, but so what violence has there been between you and Miss Jackson?
There's never been any violence between me and her, except for one incident that was probably, I would say at least like 7 years ago. But the violence has always been between her, Miss Jackson, and my mom. I've always had to step in between them. Like since I've been here since December, I've had to step in between them numerous of times because they have almost got fighting. So me and Miss Jackson haven't had any, I guess you can say, violent situations that's come up.
Numerous of times.
It's only because of this situation that was addressed that maybe she got angry. But other than that, we haven't had any major history of violence between me and her.
Okay. And now the same question as it relates to Miss Merez.
No violence with her except for this incident.
Okay. And what about other acts like threats of violence or property damage?
Not not damage to property, but when she was outside, she had told my daughter she was gonna spray her. So
And what did you interpret that to mean?
a gun, because she does keep a gun with her.
Okay. And that was toward your 20-year-old?
Yes.
Okay. And you referenced filming something or video earlier. Is that something you submitted to the court?
Yes, for evidence, yes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, are we able to view that?
Is it labeled?
I don't think it's labeled.
I'll take that as a no.
The text messages are labeled, but the video is not labeled.
This one?
And do you know if you got a separate confirmation that the video was accepted?
Yes, I had, because I couldn't send it from my original email, so I had to send it from another one, but I did get a confirmation that it was filed.
All right, give us just a moment. We're going to try to pull this up and we're going to screen share. And was this, could you estimate when this was taken?
This was on July the 30th.
All the crap that's in here, you gonna tell me?
Your dirty diaper out of the kitchen.
Record you too.
Record. We don't care about none of that.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
And make sure you tell him you told me to shut up.
Because you told me you what did you tell me? Oh, I bet you did.
Okay. You came down here telling me giving me orders in my house. You don't tell me what to do.
I thought this was daddy house, mama house. Now it's your house.
I thought you said it wasn't mama house. You lying helpful.
And you know what mama just said yesterday?
It's recorded. Now you finally saying it's mama house. Now you finally saying
see officer?
Now you finally saying it. At first you said it wasn't mama house.
Mama saying it's her house, but now it's your house. Whose house is it? Is it yours?
It was never mama's house.
Is it yours? Is it yours or mama's?
It was never mama's house. What you shaking for? You scared?
No.
You shaking?
No. It's the demons in y'all. It's shaking me. Yes, it is.
Oh, you're a fucking demon. Okay. You understand me?
You are being recorded.
I don't give a shit about being recorded. Get your nasty ass diapers up out of my kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is warming up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not my mama. I'm not even freaking Michaela. That's all you fucking can do is record. You can't pay no bills in the house.
Oh, well, I didn't think my $200 and the $242 that I just spent on bright shoes.
$200
okay, then. So what? I had surgery.
Guess what? I don't care.
I know you don't care.
I don't care.
That's why you're being recorded.
I don't care about that either.
And they're going to see how hostile you are.
No, you the one who told me to shut up first.
Why did I tell you to shut up, Tia? Because you told me to stop calling the police over here. And I said, shut up.
You don't tell me to shut up. Just come in the bedroom.
No, because this is what has to happen. Y'all ratchet. Y'all calling me ratchet. Y'all the ones who can't control y'allself.
No, you the one. You always argumentative.
Me?
You always
Please.
Me, Ratchet.
That's okay. Y'all going to jail today. All y'all going to jail today.
Oh, good Lord.
All right, so for the purposes of the record, has anything about that video been edited, altered, or deleted in any way?
No.
All right, and for the sake of clarification, and just to get this as part of the record as well, there were 3 parties visible in the video that I saw, somebody in white, somebody in black, somebody in gold. Could you tell us who each of those were?
The person in gold is my mom. The person in white was Miss Merez, and the person what you said in black, that was Mom, Miss Jackson.
She really
okay.
does.
Miss Jackson and Miss Merez, do either of you have any objection to the video being considered as evidence? You'll still be able to ask questions about it or give testimony about it if you wish to do so.
No.
All right, and Miss Jackson?
No.
Okay, thank you both. I wasn't quite sure who I had heard. I was guessing a little bit, but all right, that video will be admitted. And Ms. Cooper, did you submit other exhibits? I think I heard you say something about messages.
Yes, that was the text message between me and Miss Merez on the 28th. That's what basically is the cause of the altercation or the incident.
Okay, give me just a minute. We're going to see if we can get that screen shared for everyone to see.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
Are you able to see the screen, Judge?
I don't know.
I can only see the blue Odyssey screen. I can't see the purple Odyssey screen. I think you may have to tell it to share that one separately. There we go.
Okay, good. But this one is labeled petitioner 2.
I can't read that. And I'm thinking that's probably best.
Okay, and Miss Cooper, when somebody references Tia, T-E-I-A, who is that?
That's Miss Jackson. That's her nickname. That's what we call her.
I don't think it's going to be like Shakespeare.
Okay, and so you're telling her you think it's best that she stop being the nurse, and then it looks like this is just one page, so I'm guessing the petitioners 3 will carry on from there. Yep.
That was top notch. It really was.
Okay, number 4. Okay, and is there more after that? All right, and who is Miss Cooper? Who is Michaela?
That's my daughter. That's the 20-year-old.
Okay, and Esther?
She's the scheduler at the home health service that Miss Marys and Miss DeAndrea work at.
Okay. And so this conversation, by and large, is about, I guess we'll call it double billing or possible double billing and figuring out whether she'll continue to work with the family. Were there other exhibits that we need to pull up that I haven't seen yet?
No, sir.
All right. And any other testimony you wish to give before we proceed to the questioning portion?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Jackson, are there questions you believe I need to ask this witness at this time?
No.
All right, Ms. Merez, are there questions you believe I need to ask this witness at this time?
No.
All right, Ms. Cooper, you said you did not intend to call any other witnesses. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. All right, and so Ms. Jackson, I will turn to you at this point. Do you wish to provide testimony today?
Yes.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear any statements you make will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. What would you like to tell us?
Okay. First and foremost, I have been living in the home. I have been away from my for about a year and a half now. This all did escalate pretty fast.
And the initial issue is, Miss Cooper is being evicted. There is a case against her and my mother, and she is in the process of being evicted from the home due to non-payment, not helping around the house, and causing a lot of conflict and confusion. The day of the incident on July 30th, that's in question. What happened is I had just came home from taking my oldest daughter to work. As I'm sitting on the couch, Miss Cooper comes down with her grandson in her hand, as well as a book bag. And she's frantically telling me, I better get my mama. I better get my mama. She's not playing with her. And I just calmly said, listen, we are not going to keep calling the police every weekend or every day because something is said to you by mom. At the end of the day, this is still her house. And she was saying they instructed her to keep calling the police every time something is said to her. Next thing, she turns to me and tells me to shut up because I'm going to jail. And at this point, I am furious. I'm furious at the fact that I'm paying bills in the house where she lives freely. I provide everything in the house where she lives freely. I'm providing care for my father in which she does not exist. And in theory, this is her biological father. He is my stepfather, okay? Hasn't offered to assist, haven't offered to do anything. So yes, I am very upset at the fact that you're threatening me with false allegations in which I have attached documents as my evidence. I did submit it and receive the email saying that it had been approved, that this whole Medicaid fraud thing that she's falsely accusing me of does not exist. The people that she contacted did not give her any information due to different laws that they cannot do that because she's not authorized to speak on anything when it comes to my father.
Look at that attitude.
All right.
To her credit, not talking, interrupting.
Ms. Cooper, do you have questions you believe the court needs to ask Ms. Jackson as part of cross-examination? You'll have to click unmute there.
Yes, sir. The only reason why I haven't helped in the, oh, I don't know, that's not a question. So did mama not tell you, Miss Jackson, that she didn't want me helping out with daddy?
No.
And did you not know that I have been paying mama money? And the
I
last
saw the
payment I
receipts
made
of the
was-
funds that you sent to her, but that does not equivalent to you living there for 8 months.
Are you not aware of any of the payments that I've given mama?
I am. I stated I was.
Okay, so
Let me, for my understanding and clarification, let me try to ask this question. Ms. Jackson, if you had to estimate to the best of your knowledge how much money you think Ms. Cooper has paid here, what would you guess that number to be?
Probably roughly around $400, give or take.
Okay, so maybe a few payments of a few $100s. All right. So with that estimate on her behalf, do you have any other questions, Ms. Cooper?
No.
All right. Ms. Jackson, if we were in court, this would be where I would tell you you could step down from the witness stand. Did you have any other witnesses that you intended to call?
She's actually part of the case as well. My mom is still trying to log in. It's not letting her log in.
We'll check the, we'll circle back on that if we need to. We can continue moving on. And just remind me to go back to that. I'll check with Ms. Perez and hear her testimony if she wishes to give it and hear from any witnesses she wishes to call. And then we'll go from there. So Ms. Perez, I'm sending you a prompt to unmute. Is it your wish to give testimony today as well? All right. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear any statements you make will be the truth under penalty of perjury? I'm not sure I can hear you. Can you say something for me?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Adjust my volume a little bit. All right. What would you like to tell us today?
I want to begin with, I started working with Mr. Cooper probably about 2 years ago. I left to take on a different position elsewhere. Ms. Cooper wanted me to come back to assist her with Mr. Cooper, so I did. My major concern is this accusation of Medicaid fraud. I presented evidence where the state provided an app for all home health aides called Carify. It's impossible for two people to clock in at once because the state is
I'm just going to
actually
jump in here. That stuff is really outside the scope of the hearing in either direction. It could be 100% true or 100% false, and it's not going to change whether I should or shouldn't grant the protective order, if that makes sense. So think about that as background. If it helps to think of it this way, it's relevant insofar as it's what Ms. Cooper thought might be true to get her involved in some part of this situation. But in terms of the ruling I'm making today, I don't think we need to go through that. But as far as the arguments, the conflicts, the altercations involving the parties here today, do you have any statements about those?
Yes, as you see in the video, I'm the tall, heavyset female. I was very calm. I have nothing to do with the family's, private quarrels, but I was helping Mr. Cooper when we can hear the outburst. He can't get out of the bed, so he wanted me to go see what was going on. I saw what was going on. You can see me, moving DeAndrea out of the room as Miss Cooper is following with the camera, but I don't even really know how I got involved in this. I do know that she did send me those text messages, and you see in the text message, she mentioned twice that she thinks I should stop being the nurse. She has no right to tell me to stop being the nurse. I don't understand why she would want me to stop being a nurse. I'm there helping her dad. And as far as her daughter and that, when the police were called, because I didn't want to be involved, as you see in the text message, when I say I don't want to be in the middle of this, I went and sat in my car so that I would not have to be in the middle of it. I've never done anything violent towards Miss Cooper. We've never had an altercation, an argument. I've never damaged anything of hers. And actually, when I was in my car, her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend, came flying up, stopped in the middle of the street. Her daughter jumps out of the car, run towards me while I'm sitting in my car, saying that I tried to help DeAndrea dump her mother, which was far from the truth. I don't have anything to give.
All right. Ms. Cooper, are there questions?
Oh, well, I do have my evidence. I'm sorry. That I presented.
And what is the evidence in regards to?
The text messages also.
Okay, these are different messages?
Well, it's pretty much the same, but you can just see on two different occasions where she's almost like she's trying to intimidate me, telling me I should stop being the nurse. I need to start by quitting. Then she's saying that I'm in a relationship with Miss Jackson, but I have text messages from Miss Cooper where she was actually trying to pursue me, and I politely declined. So I just find it odd that now in this paperwork it says that I'm in a relationship with Miss Jackson.
It's gotten real, people.
And what part of the world do you live in?
Me?
Yes.
And what color?
I live in Decatur, Georgia.
Okay. So, all right. So I see a defendant's exhibit that's in the docket from 8:15. Madam Clerk, are we able to screen share that? On the 6907 case.
You did say you didn't need to use this, so this.
Oh, is this?
I was questioning Natalie. I was. In fact, I messaged her, but nope, she came through again.
Is this exhibit? This is a number of pages. If you
scroll, yeah, just keep scrolling.
Okay. Right there.
Okay, so this is the same message she shared with you, but she's telling me she thinks it's best for me to stop being the nurse. There's no reason, for me to not be the nurse. And this is the message where she's actually coming on to me. So I don't understand why she's now telling the courts that me and Miss Jackson are in a relationship.
See, I'm going to use Ms. Fowler's word. She now is in a throuple.
Okay.
And this is a message from the office where I reported what happened on the 30th because I have to report to my job what happens. So Miss Esther, the actual owner of the agency that I worked for, asked me to provide her with the documentation about the incident with Miss Cooper's daughter, because she mentioned that she can't give Miss Cooper any information about Mr. Cooper or any of his nurses because she's not on his paperwork for her to do so, and it violates HIPAA regulations for her to speak with Miss Cooper. So this is them asking me to provide them with documentation and proof of what happened on the 30th.
So all right. And are there any other exhibits you wish for the court to consider?
No.
Okay. Ms. Cooper, do you have any questions for Ms. Merez?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What's your first question?
So the first one is, did not Miss Esther call you, Miss Merez, and tell you that she suggested you not to come back here and work because of everything that was going on over here?
No. She stated that she had to get approval from Mr. Cooper's caseworker for me to be back on assignment, which is what all healthcare agencies have to do. They have to get approval from the patient's caseworker to have an assignment.
Okay. And then the next question is, did you not, yes, I did come on to you, but have we not all hung out together? And did you not tell me specifically that you and Miss Jackson are dating, that you and Miss Jackson are going to move in together?
No.
That's all the questions that I have.
All right. All right. Well, here's the situation. There are threshold determinations, so to speak. So the questions that we have to answer in these two cases are different because they're actually different types of petitions. Ms. Jackson's petition is a family violence petition. The petition with Ms. Merez is a stalking petition. And the questions are slightly different, but the main things that these things turn on are that I have to be able to determine that there are acts of family violence or stalking being committed, whichever one is relevant to your particular case, and that this order has a reasonable likelihood of reducing these incidents or reducing the likelihood of these incidents in the future. The testimony that has been presented today establishes that while there may have been verbal threats that were made in one case, there is not a pattern of behavior to harass and intimidate that is consistent with stalking. And so with respect to Ms. Merez, I am unable to grant or extend the stalking protective order. With respect to Ms. Jackson, in the family violence case, what I'm required to find to extend the order is that the respondent
is that she's nasty,
is acting as the predominant aggressor in acts of family violence. And evidence in the record today, including the testimony of the parties and the video submitted by the petitioner, does not establish that type of dynamic or relationship between the parties, to the extent that there was conflict and incident and altercation that took place, allegedly took place within the past month. The evidence that has been presented about that today is insufficient for me to make that finding. And so what that means is that these two matters will be reflected in the record as dismissed and denied, and that once those documents are received and processed by the court, they will be forwarded to the sheriff, whereupon the sheriff will remove those orders from the registry. Once that is done, the parties can get a copy from the superior court clerk should they need to show it to anybody. Understand that there can be a delay, sometimes up to a couple days, between when the paperwork is actually finished and when it makes its way all the way to the sheriff to be taken off the police system. And so having that hard copy in the short run may come in handy once you're able to get one. So understand that, but essentially what that means is once these dismissals are processed and entered into the record, things will be as they were prior to the issuance of any temporary orders, putting aside the possibility of other court action or intervention. My understanding is that any eviction case is still pending. That has not been finalized. And so what that means is that the parties may freely and appropriately associate with whomever they choose. Conduct that is threatening, intimidating, harassing, and certainly conduct that is violent can serve as grounds for protective orders or serve as grounds for arrest if police have probable cause to believe a crime has been committed. Understand that things may be contentious, they may be unpleasant, they may be confrontational, but there's a difference between that and it being a crime. I will also say, Ms. Cooper, for your part in this, nobody likes having a camera pointed in their face. Whether you pull that out as a means of self-defense or something else is not really for me to decide here today. But I can tell you that when that's done, especially given the context of the conversations that were on that video, it plays as if you're trying to instigate, antagonize, provoke to at least some sort of response. It's a little bit like being in the back seat with your sibling and doing the I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. And so people just aren't going to take it well. So yeah, I would expect there to be hostility after that, but hostility is not a crime, and that's why nobody went to jail. So that is my ruling. The parties will be placed in the waiting room and they will be free to log off. The dismissal paperwork will be completed and forwarded to the clerk today, and it will be processed by the clerk and the sheriff later this week. Good luck to you all.
You are awarded 0 points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Oh, that was fun. You see, I just did a stream and I had to do this one. I had too much good stuff. We had a rock solid soft sit, a cranky Karen, and well, we had that. The Ratchet Nurse Trio. Oh, good Lord. Thanks again to April, to People in Court, and to Natalie D, of course. Natalie D came through. That one was a slow starter, but it really went up a notch when we got the live video. with the stank diaper in the kitchen. And then it went on from there, you know. All right. Well, you know, I have to do it once.
See, I'm going to use Miss Fowler's word. She now is in a throuple. And not only does she choose to be in a throuple, and she's shacked up in the bed with the throuple. Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong world.
All right. Thank you all for coming out. That was too much fun. I will see you all soon.